Karen in California. Karen, you're live with Eric and Owen. Hello. Hi. Do you have us on speakerphone?
No, I'm not on speakerphone.
Okay. Go ahead. What did you want to talk about?
I wanted to get a clearer difference between Christian nationalism and Christian fundamentalism.
Sure. Absolutely.
Can I give my take on this, and maybe Eric can kind of clarify? From my understanding, a Christian nationalist is somebody who believes that the government should be controlled by the Christian religion. It's somebody who wants to, control the educational system and basically have a Christian state. And fundamentalism, from my understanding, is the belief in the fundamentals of a book, the literal interpretation of the Bible.
I see.
So as far as I know, like I said, Eric can correct me if I'm wrong here. Fundamentalism is basically the extreme literal interpretation of a book. Nationalism, Christian nationalism, is the belief that the government should be controlled by Christians.
It's just recently I've heard this phrase over and over, Christian nationalism, and I wasn't sure what it was.
Yeah,
absolutely. So there. I remember even as a Christian hearing passages about praying in private, right, and giving to Caesar that which is Caesar's. And yet there's this Christian nationalist kind of push. And so I actually pulled up while you were talking to Owen, ChristiansAgainstChristianNationalism.org, because not all Christians are Christian nationalists. And I'm just going to read from their statement on what a Christian nationalist is. Christian nationalism seeks to merge Christian and American identities, distorting both the Christian faith and America's constitutional democracy. Christian nationalism demands Christianity be privileged by the state and implies that to be a good American, one must be Christian. It often overlaps with and provides cover for white supremacy and racial subjugation. We reject this damaging political ideology and invite our Christian brothers and sisters to join us in opposing this threat to our faith and to our nation. So I hope that kind of helps separate that. So you can have people who are hardcore believers, right? You can have people who are handling snakes buck naked in the wilderness and still not necessarily think that they should legislate their beliefs. And so making sure that
Well, that explains the historical revisions that we're getting about our Constitution and the Founding Fathers and stuff like that. Okay, that explains a lot.
Good.
Yeah, I talk about this in a video that releases later today. There's this pastor named Johnny Enlow, and he's a QAnon supporter, and he's also part of something called Seven Mountains Dominionism. It's basically like in the 70s, evangelicalism was kind of created, right? And out of evangelicalism came this thing called dominionism. It's basically like a belief system. And dominionism at its core is the belief that the government should be controlled by evangelicals specifically, not just by Christians, but they want to, have people in the government to control things. There's soft dominionism and there's hard dominionism. Hard dominionism believes we should completely replace the Constitution of the U.S. with the Old Testament laws, basically. And and then it goes even deeper than that. Seven Mountains Dominionism is the belief that we should also, that the educational system should be controlled by Christianity, by evangelicals specifically. So there's a whole, a whole route to take with this.
Absolutely.
Wow.
No.
Well, I definitely have a better understanding of it now, and explains a lot of what I've been hearing recently.
Good. And I hope
it's a movement that's really growing, I guess.
Yes, it is.
It is, and I think it's been something that we as a society have swept under the rug for a very long time, and is now just seeing more light, and I think this is especially important given the context of the first call that we had today. Somebody saying, should we label all Christians a cult, right? I just read to you a definition from ChristiansAgainstChristianNationalism.com. And so there we see these ideologically opposed groups of people who also call themselves Christians. And I think that, in combating that nationalist...
Christians are calling out Christians, so that's really good, because for so long they've just not decided to call out their Christian brethren who are fringe, extreme, are not, I'm really glad that there's some, because it doesn't serve us, I don't think, to call them out as much as if it comes from other Christians.
Agreed.
Definitely. And I think that is an intersection where we should be meeting with them and working together. Every time we see those intersections of where we want to see change, it's something that we as atheists...
Separation, all that stuff,
Yeah.
Secular schooling.
Well, and even just volunteering. We as atheists have a lot of work to do, because there are plenty of cases of times where somebody who is an atheist walks into a soup kitchen, turns out it's a religious one, and they're not allowed to help. And so we've got to combat that. We've got to combat the narrative that we are in some way this vile, oppositional force, but that we can work together to create a better society.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That gives me more understanding. Hopefully it gives the public more understanding, because I know that we sorely need to understand this now.
Yeah, that was a great question.
Yeah.
No problem. Well, thank you,
Karen.
guys. You guys are great. I've listened to both of you.
I appreciate
Awesome. Thank you, Karen. Take care.
Yeah, you take.
I like that, Karen.
Right?
Yeah.
Not all Karen. I really,
No.
that was really cool. I liked that.